Howdy, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer. And, oh yes, that'll calm down in a second. We are still, I know it's just rain, but it's still hot as hell. This is a Wayhomer review. Here's how this works. I've just left the cinema where I've seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. It just saves time to multitask. And today we're here to talk about Cars 2. So, I'm supposed to pull out at that point. Shows how discombobulated I am. Alright, so, Cars 2. What can we say about Cars 2? Well, synopsis first. Life has progressed. We find place Radiator Springs, which is where the first film was set. And Lightning McQueen has continued to kick fender, I guess, tail light, whatever car joke would fit there. In the racing circuit, so to speak. And still, comes back to Radiator Springs whenever possible. Still best friends with Tomater and Toe Mater or Mater. Actually, it's just Mater, right? Anyway, so yeah, so that's where we joined them. And there's apparently some new big world race thing, which honestly, it just hit me. Wasn't that like the plot of like half the Speed Racer cartoons? I don't know. Anyway, so world race that's supposed to celebrate this new alternative fuel. And so McQueen finds himself in the race, and Mater finds himself being, and this is all in the trailer, Mater finds himself being mistaken for a spy by a couple of real spies, and they stumble onto a plot involving the race, involving alternate fuel, involving pretty much everything. And hijinks thus ensue. There's your synopsis. Alright, so here's the thing about Cars, which is now officially a franchise. I know that I am one of 3 to 4 people on the planet who actually enjoyed the first film. Everyone gives the first film a lot of hell, okay? And yes, I mean, okay, it was Doc Hollywood on tires. But you know what? Not every plot in the world can be completely and 100% original. But I enjoyed the first film. I didn't love it, It wasn't like Toy Story. They can't all be Toy Story. So I was fine with the first one. I enjoyed it. I thought it was still a fairly superlative work, and I tell people all the time, listen, if Cars had come out from any other animation studio at the time when it did originally come out, people would have loved it. But the problem was it was coming out from Pixar, and people are used to something, I don't know, different from Pixar. Pixar sets the trend, right? Pixar is the reason why DreamWorks has had to step up their game, and all these other people have had to step up their game, because they just watch the Pixar films and just go, oh God. I mean, they just cry silently to themselves to sleep at night because of Pixar. So I said, look, it's not fair to be so down on Cars because it's a Pixar film, and it was just entertaining. It didn't have to move you completely. So I defend Cars. The problem is this. I mean, okay, first, so Cars, right? Successful film, still made money. The toys have made boatloads of money. Disney has said they are in the franchise business. That's why there was a Pirates 4. That's why there's a Pirates 5. That's why they're going to sequelize anything they can possibly get their hands on because they want to make money. And I understand that they're in the business of making money. But one of the great things about Pixar has always been that they are in the business of making money. They're not in the business to lose money, okay? Disney are not in the picture. Pixar is the place where you go to and you say, look, it's going to be huge, and yes, there's going to be toys, and it's going to be video games, and there's going to be all this stuff, but it's still going to be awesome because it's Pixar, right? That's the deal with Pixar. So, yes, when you look at merchandising, Cars makes boatloads of money for Disney. So, yes, they have to figure out how to do a Cars 2 so they can make more boatloads, in this case, anthropomorphized boats with eyes that blink, of money, and yet figure out how to make it Pixar-worthy as well. If that makes any sense. I'm struggling here. I literally finished the film like 5 minutes ago. Anyway, so I took heart in the fact that my understanding of the Pixar method and why I don't have My Incredibles 2 yet, no matter how much I cry myself to sleep at night because I don't have it, is that unless the original director is on board, you can't do a sequel. So the reason I understand they haven't done an Incredibles 2 yet is because they haven't come up with an idea awesome enough for them all, including Brad Bird, to say, yes, I'm gonna go make it, right? So I thought, okay, Cars 2, no problem. It looks like it could be entertaining, that's fine. Here's what I'm struggling with, and why I didn't want to get in the car, is because I have some mildly unkind things to say about a Pixar film. And I cannot tell you how much that distresses me. Because it's Pixar. The place where if they called and said, "Widge, we need a janitor. Could you come?" I'd be done. As long as I don't have to pick up after the monkey. Okay, I'll pick up after the monkey. Just give me my badge. Alright? Because it's Pixar, right? Here's what I can relate it to. And this pains me. Because the trailer was in front of this film. The third Spy Kids movie. If you didn't like the third Spy Kids movie, it's because you weren't 10. Okay? As goofy and as, well, adolescent as the third Spy Kids movie was, and the fourth Spy Kids movie looks to be, as kid-friendly as it seems to be, I don't care. The third Spy Kids movie, if you were like a 10-year-old boy, you would have thought that was the most awesome movie you had ever seen in your life. That would have been, until you grew to know better, that would have been your Casablanca. That would have been your Godfather, because it was just so completely wired into the 10-year-old kid id. Okay? So, it's unfair to judge that film like, you know, if you have to understand, I'm an adult, I'm watching this film is not for me. One of the things that's been awesome about Pixar, and one of the reasons why they are so superlative as filmmakers, is because you never walk away from a Pixar film saying, that film wasn't for me. There was something in that was for the kids, there was something in that for the adults, and it wasn't even like with Shrek, where you would go and you would watch Shrek and haha for the kids and whatever, and there was a bunch of pop culture references for the adults, and that's all you took away from it, right? Think in your mind. You're listing them in your head right now. The stuff that, if you're watching, you know, for God's sake, think about Toy Story 3. How different that is for you as an adult versus, if you were a kid watching that, right? I mean, my God, you talk about disparity there. But it's like that with most of the Pixar films. Like all of the Pixar films, there's always something there. And that's not the case with this film. I mean, again, this film wasn't for me. And I feel like I've been locked out of the clubhouse. And I feel like kind of hurt and depressed by it. I mean, honestly. I'm not kidding around. This is a depressing thing for me to talk about. But if you were the kids that the merchandising is aimed at, then you will love this film, because you've got cars that fly, and you've got boats with guns, and you've got secret agent cars, and you've got all kinds of just crazy stuff, and it's all there. And I'm not saying that the film screams, we did this for merchandising. It doesn't necessarily scream that. It just, the only thing it really offered me at my level of, my questionable level of adulthood, maturity, is, a bunch of car jokes that adults would get and kids probably wouldn't get. The best being, and I don't want to give it away, but when you realize what is going on with, you know, the whole plot about what's behind the bad things happening, that's about the extent of the adult, I don't want to say adult humor because that makes it sound like it's, I don't know, Fairley Brothers nonsense, but you know what I'm saying, mature things that you're going to catch that the kids aren't going to catch. That's about it. And I was trying to figure out what was distressing me while I was watching the film, because I'm like, well, you've got this whole oil versus alternative fuel plot going on, which I won't go into a lot because that's not in the trailer and I don't want to spoil anything. But I'm like, okay, is this going to be some, you know, not to sound horrible, but some tree hugging thing that's going to be so on the nose that it's going to put me off? No, that wasn't it. Is it going to be the whole, friendship and things going? No, actually, that wasn't it. You know, was it the whole, what could be construed to be a tired plot line of, oh, I'm not really a secret agent, but I've been mistaken for a secret agent, and da-da-da-da, and things go on from there? No, actually, that was the best part of the film. But when that's all you've got going for you, is watching, what gadget the Michael Caine car is going to come up with next, that's not it. And I know we talk about expectations in these things a lot, and I know that I try to just cleanse myself of it going in because I want to get what the film is offering to me, okay? Because I don't want to be one of these, like I said, I went in expecting Merchant Ivory, but it was an Eddie Murphy animated film. I don't know why I didn't like it, right? But I know why I didn't like this film. It wasn't for me. I went to it, it simply wasn't for me. Kids are going to love it. It depends on how much they dig cars. I mean, young boys are going to love it, right? Girls who are into cars probably going to love it. I don't know. But that's about it. Parents who take their kids, you're not going to have a bad time, but you're not going to have the level of enjoyment that you've come to expect from Pixar. And that's an expectation thing. I admit it freely. It's because, and I knew eventually that something was going to happen, and it wasn't going to be, that good. But I didn't expect it. I was hoping it wouldn't happen in my lifetime, actually, because I didn't want to say these things. But anyway, but the thing is, it's like, let me just put it this way. There's a point in a race where, somebody chokes and the second person runs ahead and gets ahead because the leader choked. I just watched Pixar choke. And I just watched, DreamWorks past them because because Pixar has been making everyone step up their game. They've caught up to Pixar at this point. How to Train Your Dragon is a better film than this, Megamind was a better film than this. I mean, it's just okay. And that, to me, is a horrible thing to say about a Pixar film, because Pixar films are never just okay. They're always fist-pumping awesome on some level. Even the ones that don't completely fire on all cylinders, even the ones for me, Cars, like Ratatouille, which I thought was enjoyable. This wasn't enjoyable. It was just okay. I feel completely deflated. The one thing I can tell you is, in animated films, the 3D works. Because there's some amazing 3D vistas, because they're actually creating a world that they can go, yes, let's stagger it like this, and they can actually build it rather than, I don't know, coming back after the fact and going, I don't know, should we make it 3D? It opens on Thursday, it's Tuesday, let's make it 3D, I don't know, right? So animated films, 3D, it actually works. I would say if you are taking the kids, yeah, you know what, spend the few bucks that you hopefully did not spend on all the live action 3D, which hasn't worked, and see it. But don't get me wrong, you got kids, they want to see it, go see it. I'm not warning you away from it from that. I'm just saying, understand that it may not be for you. And I don't know. I wish somebody had warned me that was the case, because then maybe I would have enjoyed it more. Because I would have went, okay, I see what I'm here for. It's not, like I said, I won't go so far as to say that it is a ploy to get merchandising, but it is a ploy for the kids. And it's just not for us. So, there you go, friends. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I saw that, you know, that it wasn't doing well with the critics, and I was ready to go in and apologize for it and just, you know, fight all comers, but I can't do it. Not on this one. So there you go. I would say, I don't know. It's hard to beat it up because it's not a film for adults. So how can I detract from it for not being a film for adults when that's not what it is? So it's a 2.5 or 3. I don't know. I'll think about it. And if you look on the page, you'll see what my final decision was. But it's no more than a 3. And I would say if you are taking the kids, catch a matinee, save some money where you can, and go from there. So now I'm going to go drown my sorrows in something or other. So, that being said, I'm glad I ruined everyone's Saturday. Thanks to everybody for watching these things. I hope that that when they are happier, that they do put a smile on your face, or at least a smirk. So if you find these things, as always, helpful, if you can share them through whatever means that you use, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Stumble Upon, whatnot, that is always appreciated. And yeah, I actually am really devastated right now. So, I'll get over it. Go watch How to Train Your Dragon. I'm gonna go cry now. Bye. Okay, so before my sobbing fit, 2 actual good things to talk about that my producers and handlers and so forth have called up to me. One, great nod to Paul Newman. Thank you for that, Pixar. Second thing is, there is a Toy Story animated short. I don't know why I always forget the shorts. It's always a surprise to me when the short starts up because, oh, that's right! Because, you know, there used to be a time, kids, ask your parents, when they had animated shorts in front of feature films. But there's a Toy Story short in front of it, which is an absolute hoot. So you can take some comfort in that. I know I did. So, there you go. Once the camera's off, I'll start crying.